good, y'all? Welcome to Mack Daddy Disc Golf, and welcome to the very first video on this channel. Being that it's the first video on this channel, I figured it should be an introduction of sorts, and I really wanted to paint the picture of who I am, kind of how I started playing disc golf, what my personal goals are for disc golf, and why I started this channel in the first place. Now, all these topics really intertwine, but I'm going to try to lay it out as chronologically as I can. Also, before I get started too far, I really dislike videos where someone just sits at a desk and talks to the camera. So to try and not become the YouTuber that I hate watching, I'm going to let you guys watch some footage of my dad and I playing a practice round in Greenwood, Arkansas at Bell Park. But without further ado, let's just jump all the way back to the beginning, and we'll start from the first time I picked up a disc. So the first time that I ever picked up a disc was in 2011, when a high school buddy of mine asked me to come and play with him. And as all first disc golf experiences go, he handed me a Nuke OS, and I proceeded to meat hook every single shot that I threw. Needless to say, I wasn't hooked on disc golf.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But as an avid ball golfer, I was still mildly interested in the sport, because I really like the solo challenge that the game of golf is. And fast forward about 6 years, in 2017 I had moved across the country with the military, and I wound up living next to a disc golf course. So I picked up a few used discs at a local shop, and I started playing regularly. After about 2 years of loitering at practice baskets and pestering every group that showed up until they would let me play with them, I managed to get a lot better. I finally got to where I could actually throw a half-decent shot and make a putt here and there. So naturally, the next step was to immediately throw myself into tournaments. I got my PDGA number in 2019, and I played between deployments and tournaments here and there as I could on the West Coast. I surprised myself with some of the initial tournaments and managed to land a rating somewhere around the 900 mark to start. It was like 870, and then 890, and then 930, and eventually it leveled out to be about 900, a little under. And it's pretty much stayed there ever since. So fast forward to 2024, I finally left the military, and I moved back home to Arkansas. Luckily for me, I had managed to convince pretty much every single member of my extended family in Arkansas that disc golf was cool. So 8 years in Washington, I came home to quite a few playing partners in Arkansas, the most avid of which was my dad. Earlier this year, we were talking about maybe playing in a tournament or two, and I did what I always do. I jumped on Disc Golf Scene to scout the year's events. That's when I found something that got me legitimately shaking levels of excited. I had stumbled across a local tour that was starting up in February, a 20-event, full-year series, the Flexing Down 49 Tour presented by the Disc Golf Dojo. And I don't think I even took 20 minutes to think about it before I had already signed up for the first event. And somewhere in those 20 minutes, I decided mentally that I was going to dedicate some legitimate practice and preparation into pushing my rating as high as it could go over the course of this next calendar year. And that's really what brings us to this channel as a whole. I've always had a small passion for video editing and making short films or writing short stories. Plus, I had a 360 camera lying around that I hadn't used since I climbed Mount Rainier in 2024. But to be perfectly honest, I'm not entirely sure what I want the channel to be, other than just a chronicle of my attempt at getting my rating from MA2, mid-MA2 territory to potentially MPO level territory, where I wouldn't be absolutely scared to death to enter an event in MPO. But I do have a couple of things planned for the channel. Regular Flexing Down 49 Tour event coverage, similar to the Jomez style of post-round production coverage. Some mic'd up practice and fun rounds to highlight local Arkansas courses, and my trial and error process on how I improve at disc golf, as well as some potential coaching / self-critique style videos to help me learn from you guys, and maybe teach some new players some tricks that I've learned over the years. If you're interested in learning more about the Flexing Down 49 Tour, or how I fared at some of the first events that were played this year, tune in for the next few videos where I'm going to break down the tour schedule, points, payouts, standings, and how I placed in the first 3 events of the tour before I decided to make this channel. All of that is to say that if any of this sounds interesting to you, I would love to have your support and viewership as I try to improve both my disc golf and content creation games at the same time. Until then, throw 'em straight, throw 'em far, and we'll see you on the next tee.